So an exam question about antibiotic resistance in bacteria, and it says antibiotic resistance in bacteria is becoming an increasing problem. Describe how a sulfonamide resistant population, so sulfonamide is a chemical that kills bacteria. It says describe how a sulfonamide resistant population of bacteria could develop. Well, first of all, the genes of the bacteria population need to change. Alright, for it to become resistant to bacteria, there needs to be a change in the genes, and that change in the genes is brought about by a mutation. So a mutation occurs. And remember, mutations are random. They're spontaneous. So sulfonamide amide acts as a selective agent, or you can say pressure. So there's a selection pressure on the bacteria population. There'll be a number of mutations that occur in the population, and some of the mutations will cause a change in the bacteria DNA that gives it a survival advantage. So in this case, it'll make it resistant to the sulfonamide. So therefore the resistant bacteria will survive, and the non-resistant will die. And these resistant bacteria that are surviving will therefore pass on the allele for sulfonamide resistance. So the allele, or the gene, is passed on to the offspring. And that'll happen over many generations. So over generation, the frequency of the allele within the population that gives sulfonamide resistance will increase in the population. So the frequency of the resistant allele will increase. Until eventually we've got a population that are antibiotic resistant. Funny thing says how the allele is passed on, so you could mention that this is passed on by the plasmids. Alright. And just one key point, when you're talking about sulfonamide antibiotic, you've got to say that it's a selective pressure. Six bullet points plus the one about plasmids, so 7 bullet points for a 4-mark question. One thing to remember, don't talk about the bacteria becoming immune at any point. And when you're talking over many generations, don't talk about time. the examiners are looking for generations. With mutations, make sure that you're saying that they are random or spontaneous. And make sure with the bacteria that you're not mentioning that they are breeding. The bacteria won't be breeding, they'll just be replicating themselves. It's from asexual reproduction, so mitosis.